does this, or does this, or she's so animated, and it's like, oh, it's this, and it's like, it's because that Joker is insane. That Joker don't have a mind. He's a walking zombie. Guys, look who showed up again. It's Kamala Harris. She won't go away. I think eventually she's going to be like your who's that guy that invented the internet? Al Gore, and then the other climate czar, John Kerry. Hopefully she turns out to be just like those guys. We got a couple things there here recently. She's on her book tour, and you're not going to believe the stuff that she's saying. Well, you probably would. I don't think she believes it. She wears the same outfit to a lot of these different places. Jesse Waters is absolutely cooking her. Look at this tweet. This is a video, Brett. Jesse Waters tweeted this last night. Kamala Harris is on her quote-unquote book tour, and she's recycling the same script for every single interview. Run it.
A president of the United States running for re-election. Current sitting president is running for re-election. 3.5 months from the election, decides not to run. 3.5 months from the election, he decides not to run. 3.5 months before the election, decides not to run, with 107 days to go. With 107 days. Yeah. With 107 days to go. And it ended up being the closest presidential election in the 21st century. A president of the United States.
Man, this is unbelievable. This woman is so non-original. This is exactly why she didn't even stand a chance. She could have had 701 days, and she wouldn't have won dog catcher. Nobody's going to vote for this woman. This woman is an absolute crazy man. I don't even know how she has a husband. I don't even know. That's unbelievable. What else we got, Brett? This is Libs of TikTok, man. You can't go wrong with these guys. They say, hey, Kamala, this you? And she said back in 2019, she said, look, let's be honest. Real Donald Trump's Twitter account should be suspended. She called for Trump's Twitter account to be suspended. I believe at that point, what was his job? The sitting president of the United States of America. She called for him to be censored. And then just coincidentally the other day, she said, what we are witnessing is an outright abuse of power. This administration is attacking critics and using fear as a weapon to silence anyone who would speak out. Media corporations, from television networks to newspapers, are capitulating to these threats. We cannot dare to be silent or complacent in the face of this frontal assault on free speech. We, the people, deserve better. How does she even, how do you do that? Is she laughing hysterically with this crazy laugh she's got? This is unbelievable. Brett, what else we got from her? Elon. This isn't from her, but this is about this whole government censorship nonsense. Google literally admits to censorship underneath the Biden administration. Who was the vice president? Kamala. So either she was complacent or she was just dumb. Could be a combination thereof. These private corporations to censor the opposition, her opposition. And she was okay with that. But now all of a sudden she's righteous. Don't we have a video over, Brett? What else? We got any more tweets? Run it.
Madam Vice President, I have to ask you about the point, the part of your book that has people most upset thus far, which is some of your writing about the decision around the president abandoning his reelection campaign, the timing there and how it was handled. You say in part, page 46, it's Joe and Jill's decision. We all said that like a mantra, as if we'd all been hypnotized. Was it grace or was it recklessness? In retrospect, I think it was recklessness. The stakes were simply too high. This wasn't a choice that should have been left to an individual's ego, an individual's ambition. It should have been more than a personal decision. Whose decision should that have been? How should that decision have been made?
So when I write this, it's because I realize that I have and had a certain responsibility that I should have followed through on. Which is, and so when I talk about the recklessness, as much as anything, I'm talking about myself. There was so much, as we know, at stake. And as I write, the where my head was at the time is that it would come off as being completely self-serving.
If you said to President Biden
If
that
I-
you did not think he should run again.
Yeah, or even that he should question whether it's a good idea. But I think that,
Pause it right there, Brett. Why would it not be a good idea for Joe Biden to run? Why in her mind does she think, looking back, she does all this righteous, wrinkling of her forehead and man, just such subtle mannerisms. Why would she look back in hindsight and think, gosh, maybe it wasn't a good idea for Joe Biden to run? Why? You know why? Because that joker is insane. That joker don't have a mind. He's a walking zombie. Does she admit that? No, because she came out clearly in support of him. Joe's as sharp as he's ever been. Kind of like old Morning Joe and Mika. Golly. That's why she's saying, oh, it was me. I was reckless. Maybe I should have asked him not to run. On what basis? On what grounds would he have not have ran? He was a sitting president of the United States of America. He was leading the Democratic Party. Why would he not run? She should say it. Because he was crazy. Or lack of intelligence, lack of brain function would probably be the best way to say it. Keep rolling.
reasons I wrote this book, Rachel, is there are actually a number of reasons. One is that it is unprecedented, right? To your point of what you said in your opening, we had a president of the United States running for re-election, 3.5 months from the election, decides not to run. The sitting vice president enters the race against a former president of the United States who's been running for 10 years with 107 days to go. And it ended up being the closest presidential election in the 21st century. And there was so much about those 107 days that...
Hold on, sir. How is she saying this was the closest presidential election? Oh, in this century. When did... Yeah, that was the last century. Oh, wow, Gore. She makes it sound like this is some big historical precedence. We all lived through them hanging chads down there in South Florida. We all know how close them jokers was. Them jokers was hanging on by a thread. Now she want to get up and talk about, oh, this was the closest one. This woman is a lunatic, man. I feel sorry for her husband. Keep rolling.
For me, and this is really a behind-the-scenes look at those 107 days, was about seeing people who seemingly had nothing in common coming together by the thousands with a level of optimism and, dare I say, joy about the possibilities for America. And I hope to remind people about that light that people brought to it, and to remind people that light is still there. And we can't let that be extinguished by an election or the individual who's in the office right now.
You ever notice when you're watching Kamala, her expressions? She's such an expressionist. Is that even a word? She has so many expressions where she's giving you the response that she wants you to have. So she's like, does this, or does this, or she's so animated, and it's like, oh, it's this, and it's like, it's good gosh. Just sit there, talk, and let people make up their own dadgum mind. This is ridiculous. Go ahead. Man,
because to the point of all those folks who got out and protest about the Kimmel suspension.
And about everything else that people have protested.
Right. In the variety of ways, whether it be going to a protest or being, with their pocketbook or getting engaged in local and state and federal elections, they'll make a difference. And they've made a difference. And I guess the last point is that we've got to really remember that this person who's in the White House promised a whole lot of people who supported him and voted for him that he would do one thing, which is bring down costs and prices. And he lied to them. And we need to remember that as we move forward with the next series of elections and midterms are around the corner.
I'm done with this. Here she is campaigning again. This woman sounds like she's already campaigning to go up against JD. Woman, you ain't gonna run against JD now. I'm gonna tell you, just sit at home and pet your poodle. You ain't gonna run against no JD. That's always gonna happen. JD got this. And what she got there, Brett? Well, yeah, thank you man. I'm already getting frustrated. Go to the top. I can't see who's it from. Democrats posted and then deleted this graph after they realized it implicated Biden. Ain't that the doggone truth? Look at this. Biden's U.S. grocery prices reached record highs in 2025. Prices were higher than ever were on July 24th in all major categories. That's Biden. These guys are crazy, man. They're accusing the Republicans of doing exactly what they did. They have no plan. The Democrats' entire agenda is against Trump. That's not going to win. People are tired of that. Okay? Is Trump a saint? No. Trump's got a lot of problems. He's a flawed man like the rest of us. But step to the table. Let's see what we got. Bring us something. You have nothing. You never will. See you next video.